Markets are kind of sanguine right now, even if they're a little bit down. I'm not sure that they might not go down more. Tesla's down a bit also. There's rumblings, lots of rumblings associated with news over the weekend, mostly international, some domestic, but things that are kind of keeping a little bit of the edge on with regard to both Tesla and the overall news. So even while FOMO has been expected by me, and I still expect the FOMO to happen, it's kind of being modified. You have to, no matter what I've said and for how long I've said it, that we're going to get back to all-time highs by the end of June. That doesn't mean that if something really, really, really huge hits the markets or hits Tesla, that it won't impact my prediction, of course, because remember, it's not about the prediction, it's about the analysis underlying the prediction. So let's start with the Tesla side. I started talking about worse than expected sales numbers being a potential drag on my all-time high prediction. That could be a real problem. We're going to be seeing numbers. We've gotten the very first numbers in from Europe and they're not good. So you've got both France and UK coming in with numbers that look kind of like what you saw in March and April, rather than any hope for increase in May as production was increasing. We gather production was increasing in Berlin. So that's not good. And while I think that that's probably heavily already in, most people's have it in their prediction is that maybe Europe's not going to be that great because of brand damage. It could still be problematic if it continues, and especially if the China numbers on Tuesday come in light again. Now, the 11,000 number last week was okay, but it wasn't great. We'd like to see 16, 17, 18,000 this week, which would, kind of offset some of this negative news coming out of Europe. I think we're going to see, we'll see much more news out of Europe over the next couple of days. So we'll see if it's only the UK and France, or whether it is impacting a lot of other countries in Europe as well. Now, on the international scene, we have had today a very successful and a very encouraging. I mean, I would love to see Ukraine win the war if there's any such thing possible, or at least come out okay. I'm certainly no fan of Putin. I don't like what he's doing. I can see a little bit. I can be slightly empathetic with his point of view with regard to certain things like the UN encroachment, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't like to see the Ukraine win. Anyway, they had a very good day today. They used some drones. Really? The drones, really? I wonder who would have suggested that. Anyway, we'll talk more about that in a minute. But the problem here is not that the success of the Ukrainians with regard to the drone attack, but rather Putin's response to that, which he says is going to be pretty devastating. What's he got in mind? What kind of things might he bring to bear that could be, really shake things up over there? And then in the meantime, you've also got Trump saying to Putin, hey, you better cool it, because otherwise the Europe and the United States are ready to substantially increase the sanctions. Well, anytime you've got things ramping up on this Ukraine situation, it's not good. We also had some alerts over the weekend from the Department of Defense saying that China they're worried about China potentially doing something with Taiwan. I don't think that's going to happen, but you can't completely discount it if Hegseth thinks that there might be something going on. Meanwhile, there's some statements by Trump and Bessent and others that the trade progress with China is stalled. So, and that they're not going along with their agreement a couple of weeks ago to start sending out rare earths to the United States and to the Europe, some other of the allies. So you also are hearing that the container traffic out of China is still very, very light. So you see, you've got a little this here and a little that there, and some of those things won't be so little if they start going crazy. But right now, they're just tensions, not anything that's actually causing a problem, but they could be. And so I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised to see that there's a little bit of softness in the markets tonight. Now then, with regard to Tesla on the good news side, we've got them a software update. This is from Tesla_archive. He's reporting the Tesla software update has been released to the employees, and he thinks this is what's going to be included. So I don't know how good this list is or not. Number one, and this is the important one, Grok will be integrated for advanced voice commands and conversational AI. I hope that happens. It would make so much sense to have that coming up right now as we go into the release of robotaxi. It just makes sense to have Grok in the robotaxis. So anyway, I hope that's true. If it turns out that we can get a little more confirmation on that, I think that could move the markets, especially if we begin to get some people with Grok in their car and some people doing some videos and having those conversations as they go along the free highways, byways, freeways, whatever, talking to Grok and getting some updates. Anyway, in addition to that, there's some new vehicle keys. These are called rider keys for robotaxi and pre-delivery days. Don't know. A trailer visualization for improved detection and rendering. Custom wrap feature for Cybertruck, but maybe it'll be expanding to other models, but no telling. Child left behind detection. I think I may have reported on that the other day, where it will alert you if your child is if you walked away accidentally and left the baby in the car or your infant in the car. And then emergency vehicle detection via audio and camera. People are already actually reporting that that's pretty good, but maybe this isn't another upgrade. Supercharger dynamic pricing with new UI and find lower price feature. That's nice. Quality of life updates to be a car wash mode, a tire fill assist, and potential Steam support. Don't know. Anyway, looking for a rollout in this month over the next few weeks. By the way, this is Randy Kirk, hitting likes, subscribe, and all that stuff. Notify too. Those are good. Might still have one last video tonight from which would be the Cern Basher combination of all three. No, I'm sorry, that's not true. This would be my 4 videos from last weekend combined into one big video, so you can watch it all at once with regard to how I see the next few months as we see this coming together of the Trump successes, the Trump successes, the Musk successes, the AI successes, and how all of that might be coming together to create something really, really big. So I'll put the card. No, there's no card. That's what might become a future. This morning, I did a big rant with regard to Elon Musk's being just crucified by the media. It was just a rant, but maybe you like my rants. There was no evidence that you liked the rants because nobody watched it, but I'll put the card up in case you missed it and you want to go back and check it out. It was a lot of fun sort of fun to do a rant. It gets it off your chest, but the things they're doing to Elon and to Trump, for that matter, it's very sad. And I'm not sure what we're going to do about it as a country because it's not good. And it's causing real serious problems. All right, Scott Besant says that China's new post says that 65% of tariffs will be borne by producers in China. Oh, really? China News Post says 65% of tariffs will be borne by the producers. Listen to this channel. You want the facts? Facts are right here on this channel. At least when we know the facts. If we can find the facts, or if I have that experience in my lifetime, bring in Jeff Lutz in this particular case, Jeff and I both with vast amounts of experience in import-export, supply chains, etc. Both of us said very little of the price increases that will come, or the cost increases associated with the tariffs, will be borne by consumers. It'll almost all, I said 0.8% of inflation in 2025. That's my worst case scenario. That would be assuming the tariffs end up averaging 15% and assuming that tariffs continue, or that imports continue to be 14% of the economy. All you got to do is multiply. And you multiply those two numbers together, you come up with 0.8% of price increases that I believe will get through to the end user. All right. What's going to happen this week with economic reporting? Well, this is, of course, Labor Week, and so it's going to be, really, really important. On Monday, we start off with the S&P final U.S. manufacturing number, the final number. It was at 52.3 on the second reading. It's expected to still be the same. We have the ISM manufacturing number coming in, which was 48, which last month was 48.7. They think that drops to 48.5. A continued assumption that manufacturing is still soft to going down a little bit. That may be true. There's some evidence that it's going the other way, but we'll see what happens on Monday. Then construction spending, which it was down 0.5% last month. They're thinking it'll be up 0.2% this month. So none of what I just said is going to impact markets on Monday if they come in where they're expected to. It would have to be really, really bad. Manufacturing would have to go down a lot to get anybody excited. Construction spending would have to go down a lot. Those are not going to impact the markets. Now, as mentioned, we'll be getting lots of auto sales in later today, tomorrow, Tuesday. So over the next few days, we'll hear a lot from the automotive sector. Now, there could be some really bad news there. You could have GM or Ford with bad news. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not expecting any really bad news from the automakers. Factory orders last month was up 4.3%. Whoa. Now they're thinking this month it'll be back down 3.2%. So you can say that's averaging, a little up last month, a little down this month. But I don't think you're talking about anything that is indicative of the directionality of the economy. I think this could actually come in surprisingly way better than expected. Why? Because we're hearing it from everywhere, is companies are calling U.S. manufacturers and saying, hey, we need to buy from you because of the tariffs. We got a bunch of Fed presidents like Austin Goolsbee and Lisa Cook and Lori Logan all speaking on Tuesday. Then we get to Wednesday, which is the first of the employment numbers. ADP employment last month was at 62,000. That was a very low number, kind of spooked the market a little bit. This month they're expecting to be 112,000. And who knows, we might see some modification of last month's number. But as we all know, the ADP number is not near as important as the U.S. numbers, which will be on Friday. So then we have more Fed presidents, Raphael Bostak and Lisa Cook again on Wednesday. Then we got the S&P final U.S. services number. There's no prediction on that. Last month it was a nice 52.3. That's a good number. And then ISM services last month was 51.6. They think that goes up to 52.2. So not sure why services would be going up in particular at this point. Then we got the Fed Beige book on Tuesday. I'm sorry, that's on Wednesday. Of course, Wednesday I'll be traveling. So it's very unlikely that I'll be presenting much of this to you, maybe nothing at all on Wednesday, because I think we'll be getting out of the unit early on Wednesday, traveling. Who knows, I might have time to do something on the road, but probably not. Probably it's going to be nothing on Wednesday, except maybe I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if there's anything I can put in there. Thursday, I will be back, and I'll be back in full form. We got initial jobless claims on Thursday. That is the normal number, 240,000 last week. I'm sorry. Yeah, 240,000 last week, which is kind of a little higher than normal. They're not even guessing this week. That's odd. And then we've got the U.S. trade deficit. I thought we saw that last week. What am I missing? It's certainly not a weekly number. Last week, it was the deficit was 140.5 billion. They're saying it'd be only 90. Is this a second reading? I don't know what this is about. They're calling it April. Why don't we have May? Anyway, okay. U.S. productivity was down 0.8. They're saying it's going to still be down 0.8 on productivity because of all those imported products during the month of March and April. Okay, then we've got the Friday. We've got all the unemployment numbers. The U.S. unemployment report last month was 177,000 to the positive. This month, they think it won't be as strong at 125,000, which will still be a good number. Unemployment rate staying at 4.2. They're claiming. They think that's what will happen. Hourly wages, which were up 0.2% last month, they think those are going to go up 0.3. That's a little stronger than the Fed would like it, but it would be good for the economy in general. Hourly wages year over year last month was at 3.8 year over year. Well, if it goes up 0.3% this month, I can't imagine it's going to be less than that, but they're not giving us a guess. So I'm going to say 3.8. Then consumer credit comes in on Friday afternoon, and that last month was up 10.2 billion. They think it will be up another 10 billion, which is odd. It's weird that it's exactly the same. Anyway, we'll see what happens on consumer credit. Consumer credit's really under control. Now, late pays are getting a little bit dicier, but basically the amount of people that are borrowing right now, not that bad. And people are actually putting money in savings, which is good. All right, we got Jim McPherson. He goes under the handle MC Jammez. MC Jammez, I think. That would be 𝐓𝐡𝐮𝐲 if you want to find him on X. Remember when Elon got dragged because he had these opinions? Well, 100 F-35s launched. This is what Elon said, that 100 F-35s launched from 5 aircraft carriers might have been as effective. He didn't say this. This is what Jim McPherson is saying. You could have launched 100 F-35s from 5 aircraft carriers, and they might have been as effective as today's drone strike, but many pilots would have died. Maybe some of those airplanes would have been shot out of the sky. But Elon Musk said on April 26th, crewed aircraft will be destroyed instantly by cheap drone swarms. And then Randy and Brian, actually Randy before Brian. I had to drag Brian along to my opinion, but for well over a year, I've been agreeing with Elon that the future of warfare is drones, that they scare me more than Blackhawks. And that's why I think they're going to be, no, that's not the reason, but I do believe it's going to be huge. That's where the action's going to be. All right, where are the markets right now? We have got Tesla down as much as it's been over in the overnight so far, down $5.16 to 341.30. That's 1.49 negative. And so I'm going to guess that when we look over here, that the market will have come down a little bit more since I last looked also. So the pre-market right now, Dow is down 0.25, S&P down 0.3, and the NASDAQ down 0.41. So yes, it's down more than it was last time I checked. So I think there's going to be the softness. I wouldn't be surprised to see that softness continue into the morning for both the stock and for the overall market due to some of these questions out there that I just listed. All right, let's take a look at bonds. Unchanged at this point has been kind of down a little and then unchanged and down a little and then unchanged. It's sitting at 4.418. That's not good. Needs to come down a lot. Oh, by the way, the All-In podcast, if you haven't looked at it yet, excellent overall telling of where we are right now. I think the big, beautiful bill is going to pass. I think the Senate will put some of their, they'll put some stuff in there that the House will be okay. We can go along with that. I think that there will be rescissions. There'll be that first rescission at $9 billion. That'll pass. Then they'll put in some more rescissions after that passes. That's all been explained by a number of people over the weekend as well, that there's things that can be done in rescission. There's things that can be done in the big, beautiful bill, and never the twain shall meet. So the Republicans are doing their best to accomplish all of that. Had some very, very nice things said about Speaker Johnson and the work that he's been doing. Yeah, we'll see. It might be a good month in that regard. I'm just a little nervous about this international stuff. Okay, we have got the oil up at $1.31, even though OPEC says they're going to increase production. I think the reason overall is I think that, the economy is going to be okay, and that's going to cause oil prices potentially go up a little more, but hopefully not that much. Natural gas up 2% at $3.51. Gold ticking up by $18 to $3.30. Silver up 0.62% at 33.23, moving up closer to that 35. And then copper up 2.29 at $4.78. And again, closing in on $5. We'll see if it gets there. The dollar is mixed, and Bitcoin up 851 at 105.6. So still pretty much slapped down from where they were. Okay, so I'm putting that card up there for that rant that I did this morning, where I'm very, very sad about what the mainstream media, the Wall Street Journal, what the New York Times, what they are doing to Elon Musk and what they're doing to President Trump is sad. And it's actually, I think it's criminal. I mean, literally criminal what these newspapers and the old and the news programs on television, et cetera, are doing. I think criminal. Some people are even calling it treason. This is Randy Kirk. It's been great talking to you.